Welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to have a go, second attempt at doing scale scenes cargo ship, because I made balls of it the first time round. This time round I'm using a laser cut kit from Models in the UK. What could possibly go wrong? It's wood, not cardboard this time. Right, here I am. I'm going to have another go at doing the scale scenes cargo ship, but I'm using a laser cut kit this time because I found it very difficult using the cardboard the last time. Bought it from a company in the UK called Models. Cost me about £60. It was about €100 all in with the postage. Using the laser cut sheets, didn't have to glue 30 sheets of paper to 30 sheets of card and then cut out several hundred pieces. Most of the lower hull, the pieces just popped out of those wooden sprues. It was just a matter of then just gluing all the bits and pieces together as per the instructions of the kit. Some of the parts were glued in before the paper was attached to it. I just found it handier that way. Video took me about 6 weeks to do in total. I ran out of blades. It took about a week to wait for them from Amazon Ireland. Then I ran out of toner in both of the printers we have here in the house, so I had to wait for toner to come out. Then when I printed out the 30 odd sheets, they were the wrong size, so we printed them out on 3 separate occasions and realised then that if you blow it up to 106% on our printers here in the house, they seemed to fit fine, and then I was able to continue on with the build. This part of the build here in the video, I didn't really bother gluing anything in because everything's a very, very snug fit. Just a little bit of, I suppose you call it the sprue gate, where the hasn't been cut through completely by the laser, just to sand it off, make everything square and true. This part of it, it was just basically throwing it together, and as you can see, this bit here is the stern that I'm doing. I use engineering blocks. They're handy for squaring anything up, or just as a general way to buy for them. From Amazon, I think I paid about 60 quid for 4. These are part of the bow sections. They're strengthening parts. It's just a matter of just gluing them in and letting them go off. I'm just basically sitting around waiting on bits and pieces to dry. This is me now just gluing it onto the base layer of the ship. There's 4 of them. There's the bow, the stern and 2 middle sections. I'm using a Pritt liquid glue, and I just decant it into small bottles with metal nozzles on them. This is part of the whole floor. There's 3 pieces in total. I suppose if you're not going to bother opening up the whole sections, there's no point in really doing the interior, but I don't know whether I was going to leave it open or closed, so I decided to put them in anyway. It's just a matter of gluing the paper templates in, just weighing them down and leaving them. There's 3 whole sections in the ship, and there's about 9 separate hold covers that have to be made up. There's a lot of sitting around waiting on bits and pieces to dry. I was cutting out other small parts for the bridge for the next video while I was waiting on the whole parts to go off the glue. This is also more parts of the hold, and part of the hold combing, and the gangways are in the green. These are the hold side sections. I've shown cutting out a few bits and pieces. I didn't really bother after this because nobody wants to look at 300 or 400 pieces of paper being cut out and glued to the board. This is the stern with the hull section going in. Don't ask me what way I was filming this. Obviously not getting it centered under the camera properly. Once again, it's just more glue. The lines are already prescribed on the boards. All the boards have the names of what they are on them. You can't go wrong really. And again, you'd be surprised. Just trying to make sure everything is square here. These are the gangway supports on the sides of the hold. But the gangway will be built up on either side of the ship. I'm actually running this at 10 times normal speed because the video is going to be about 90 minutes long. I have it down to just under 30. I still think it's too long, but I've edited it down as much as I can. These are the rest of the sides of the hold. And these pieces go in the middle, they're joiners. Once again, it's just a matter of gluing them all together, clamping them up and just waiting on them to dry before putting them together. Just gluing in the base of the hole here now. Helps to square everything up. This is just the next section, the base of the ship. As I said, there's 4 in total. Sort of done the ship in 2 halves and then put it together because the ship's about 3 foot long and my table's only 4 foot long. This is the base for where the bridge and the superstructure and the funnel etc. goes on the back. Once again, it's just gluing it in place, making sure everything is square. Everything has plenty of glue. Putting it in, weighting it down, and just leaving it. Basically now at the bow it's the same process as the stern. Make sure everything is glued in, everything is square. I'm just leaving it. This stage I spent more time looking out the window than actually doing any work, because you can only do a couple of pieces and wait for them to dry before you can go on to the next stage. The last time I had made an attempt at the ship, I done it with the cardboard, and I just got a little bit further past this stage and then threw it in the bin and started over. Nothing seemed to line up properly, nothing cut out properly. Any small thin strips of cards just seemed to disintegrate when you put the paper glue near them. So I decided to take the hit on the Christendom kit and start over. It's laser cut, it's precision. I mean, the biggest problem with it is me. I have no patience with a lot of things. I have a tendency to rush through them and do them wrong. I haven't been doing too badly so far. Once again here, it's just gluing another whole floor into place with the sides, making sure everything has been squared up properly. That's both halves of the lower hull of the ship in place, done. Just needs then gluing together. Now just back to the bow again. Just going to repeat the same steps as the stern sections by adding in the hole sections and then gluing the two pieces of ship together. I think later on in the build, things become more involved as there are an awful lot of smaller pieces to be put together when doing the superstructure, the bridge, the funnel, the lifeboats, the cranes, and a few other bits and pieces, cabinets and life rafts. They're all sub-assemblies, which I have made up a few of them, and they needed wrapping in paper. Have that done somewhat. Once again, it's just watching glue dry basically. This is the large hold lid. These are just covers. This is the front of the bow. You have to introduce a bit of a curve to the back of it before gluing it in place. Once again, didn't do a great job of filming this, even though I've bought a tripod and a boom and lights, and I still can't do it right. Like everything else, just a matter of gluing this in, weighing it down and waiting. This is the first 4 of the hold covers. They're just on one big sheet. I've just found a hand, you're just gluing, putting the boat together and then gluing the bits and pieces. When it was all said and done, all the glue had dried. I just found a hand, you're doing it this way. Probably not the right way to do it, but this is the way I do it. And my handy little wallpaper roller. These are the whole combing sides. And once again, it's just adding glue and sticking the paper on. I just found a hand, you're doing it this way. I have the gangway sides and supports in this clip. I don't know whether I've just done my editing wrong or I've just left the piece out completely, I'm not sure. These are just the gangway covers. There's I think 4 on each side. Once again, you could glue them beforehand onto the piece of wood, or I've just preferred to glue them in afterwards when I had everything in place. I think it's just easier for me to get them in, sit them in properly. I made balls of some of it. At this stage, filling the boat, it's now 3 foot long, so it's quite awkward to move it about on the table. The table's only 4 foot by 2 foot, and I have the camera set up in the corner, sort of fixed, so I can't really be moving the boom around too much. I'm in a small room, so the filming angles aren't great. There's these are the hold combings. Don't ask me what it means, but 4 of them on each side, and they go to the top of the hold covers. I have 8 or 9 of them to make up, and then they be wrapped in 4 side pieces, the top and the bottom piece. Do that in the next video. I'll do one anyway. I'm not going to record me putting 9 of them together. Like watching paint dry, it's actually watching glue dry. Who wants to do that? the last couple of pieces going in. It's a matter of just getting everything lined up. Make sure everything is flush, everything is straight. Just weighing it down and letting the glue go off. And that's me trying to spin a 3-foot boat on a 2-foot wide table. I'm going to leave it at this. That is the 9 hold covers made up, just sitting in place. They still have to be covered with the paper pieces, and the outer parts of the hull need doing, and obviously the superstructure and all the other bits and pieces like posts, cranes, etc. As I'm saying, this took me weeks and weeks to do, because you're basically just sitting waiting on glue to dry. So I'm going to start on the next few bits and pieces, and it will be probably another fortnight before I get the next video out. Fair play to you for staying this long. What were we at, 27.5 minutes? No fairness, bored the pants off of me making it and editing it. Doesn't take me ages. I really don't enjoy this, but I don't enjoy the talking over bit at all either. But thanks very much for staying and watching to the end, and I hope to see you for the next one. Cheers and bye.